Hello there, and welcome back to Mashin' Metal. It's your Metal Cowboy, and today we got the 10 best metal covers of all time. Let's get into it. So first off, some ground rules for our 10 greatest metal covers of all time. These are covers of not necessarily metal songs, but they have to be by a band that is metal, or at least very close to metal. Some of these, you could argue whether or not they're metal or not. Hit me up in the comments if you think they're not. But for the most part, these are all metal bands that have done covers of songs that may or may not be metal. In some cases they are, in some cases they're not. Either way, they are killer tracks, and that's what matters. So first off, as you do with these kinds of videos, you have to have some honorable mentions. So really it's not 10, it's more like 15, but whatever. So first honorable mention is Oceans covering a Deftones track, My Own Summer. I think this is better than the original. Yes, I'm saying that. And now, I love the Deftones original version, but I think this is heavier, grittier, just really getting the hate out. That's what we like to see. Next, though, we have Machine Head, and they might show up again later. Machine Head, Hallowed Be Thy Name, of course, a cover of a Iron Maiden track. Now, this is not better than the original, but that's maybe just my opinion. You let me know. Because I think the Iron Maiden version is absolute perfection. So, it's one of my favorite Iron Maiden tracks of all time, but this Machine Head cover is pretty dang good. So, yeah, so that's another honorable mention there. Next up, we got Mastodon, Just Got Paid, a ZZ Top cover. And, we could go back and forth whether or not this is better than the original. It's different, that's for sure. And I think it's pretty interesting that Mastodon chose this. A great track from ZZ Top and a great cover. Moving along, Killswitch Engage, Holy Diver, of course, by Dio. And I do not think this is as good as the original. Now, some people might disagree, but I think Dio's version is so dang good that, it's pretty hard to top. I think everything about Dio's version is better, but still, Killswitch did a great job on this cover, and so I had to mention them. Next up, but, certainly not least of the honorable mentions, is Death's cover of Painkiller, of course, a Judas Priest track. And I would say that I actually do enjoy this more than the original, but I just don't enjoy it quite as much as the other tracks that will be in our top 10. And Shred, if you're watching, cheers to you, buddy. Yeah, Shred kind of pointed this track out to me not too long ago. And I got to say, I have enjoyed it since. But now we're on to our top 10. Let's go ahead and get into number 10. Before we get into our number 10, though, we need to drink a little something to wet our throats, shall we say. And today, what we're drinking is a little bit of this Jack Daniel's special release here. This is the double-barreled, twice-barreled, whatever the number of barreling thing. Single malt from Jack Daniel's there, that special release. Yeah, let's get a little bit of that down the throat. That is tasty. Now that our throat is moist, on to number 10, Corey Taylor covering Holier Than Thou from Metallica. And this is, of course, off the Metallica Blacklist album. And Corey does a great job with this. I also love the fact that he throws in a little bit of whiplash there at the end. But Corey, great vocalist. The guitars are on point. The whole track is just fantastic. Is it better than the original? I don't know. This is one of my favorite tracks off of the Black Album. So hard for me to say which I prefer. I think they're both great. But nonetheless, Corey Taylor taking the 10 spot there with his cover of Holier Than Thou. Now, number 9, the band that inspired Corey Taylor to do this cover, Metallica themselves, doing a cover of Stone Cold Crazy. Of course, this is a Queen song, And, so I love the Queen version. It's fantastic. Of course, how do you beat Freddie Mercury's vocals? You can't really, but this is not necessarily a track where Freddie's hitting those crazy high notes or really showing his range. This is more of almost like a punk track. And so, which you didn't see from Queen a whole lot, but this is certainly one of them. And, the Metallica boys, in that vein of kind of that punk, aggressive, speed metal, thrash kind of vibe, they just went for it. And so it's even faster, more aggressive, more thrashy. And I think James does a fantastic job on vocals. Of course, just the chugging guitars and just that punky thrash vibe, just aggressive, just good old-fashioned American aggressive guitar work. I think Metallica does a great job with this cover, and it's my number 9 spot. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8, Hailstorm. Now, you can fight me on this, whether or not Hailstorm is a metal band. Some of their stuff is, some of their stuff isn't. Either way, Hailstorm's version of Still the Night, of course, a Whitesnake cover there, is fantastic. I think Lizzie Hale is an underrated vocalist. I think she does phenomenal work on most of the songs I've heard her on. Love to see her in this song here, this Atmosphere, covering a hair metal band. And too, Hailstorm, Metallica, Machine Head, a lot of those bands like that could have had many tracks on this list because they've done so many covers. But we're going to try and keep it to just 1 or 2. So moving along, though, we got Five Finger Death Punch at the 7th spot, covering House of the Rising Sun. Now, Bad Company got all the attention, but I think House of the Rising Sun, of course, a cover of the Animals track, is a better track for myself anyway. I love the original. I love this version. I think Ivan really shines here. His vocals are fantastic. I think Jason Hook on guitar and the solo is amazing. I think they really just sell this track. It's a great one. If you haven't heard it, which I assume you probably haven't, if you haven't, check them out. And I know there's a lot of hate out there for Five Finger Death Punch, but I'm going to stand by this track and this choice. I think it's a great track. Check it out. Next up, though, we got Pantera with Planet Caravan. Of course, a Black Sabbath cover. And I will say, in this case, I like the cover significantly better than the original. Now, Ozzy's great, and I like the vibe better of the Pantera cover. It's just so dark, and, Phil's vocal is just, like, soul-piercing. It feels like, he's just, like, dragging you down, like you might be drowning in the sorrow and pain of this song. Just phenomenal track from Pantera, and so different from everything else that they really did, since they got Phil. Of course, coming off of the Far Beyond Driven album, the last track on that album, check that out as well. But now, moving on to number 5, we got Marilyn Manson with Sweet Dreams. I think his best cover, maybe there's a little bit of nostalgia here from my teen years, but nonetheless, this is a great track. I love Manson's vocals on this. He gets across so well, like that idea of using people and almost like this kind of sexual, violent tension, just abuse and like the darkness of that. Of course, this is a cover from the Eurythmics, and I think Manson does a killer job on this. One of my favorites from him as far as covers go, and I think one of his better tracks overall. Just a great track. And moving along to number 4, we got In This Moment, covering Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. Now, there's a lot of covers of this song, specifically by metal bands. In fact, Nonpoint also has a cover of this, but I prefer the In This Moment cover. I think Maria Brink's vocals, especially at the end of this song, are amazing. The last minute and a half of this song are just killer, just wow, make your hair stand on end, goosebumps. Maria just brings it home. What an amazing track. It builds up to that point, and then that last minute and a half is just perfection. So yeah, if you've never heard this cover by In This Moment, go check it out. Next up, though, we got number 3, Disturbed, Sound of Silence. How could it not make this list? You know, so I remember when I first heard this song, almost brought a tear to my cold, dead heart. But nonetheless, wow, what an amazing track. David, lead singer from Disturbed, just shines on this track. Amazing vocals. I mean, some of the best vocals maybe of this generation. You know, let me know. Wow, David is absolutely amazing on this song. You know, this song would not be what it is without him, certainly. And then just the dark tones and the video that goes along with it, just brilliant work by Disturbed. Of course, this is a Simon and Garfunkel cover, but totally different from the original, and Disturbed really made it their own. What a beautiful song. And that's something that we don't see a lot in the metal genre, but there sometimes there will be truly beautiful songs in the metal world, and this is certainly one of them. So, but moving on to number 2, our runner-up in this top 10 greatest covers, we got Machine Head Sentinel. Of course, a Judas Priest cover, and again, I dare to say I enjoy this version more than the original. Nothing against Rob Halford. Amazing, amazing vocals from him, but I just love the grittiness, the heaviness of this. I think that Rob Flynn from Machine Head, his vocals are fantastic on this. The guitar is great. Just it's heavier, grittier, darker. I just love this version of this song. Listen to it many, many, many times in my playlist. Yeah, Machine Head is great, underrated band. They do a lot of great stuff, including things that are not covers. And yeah, Rob Flynn, the boys, killing this cover of The Sentinel. But now, on to our number 1. And before we get there, I think we need one more sip of the devil's juice here, this Jack Daniels. That's what life's all about right there. That is good. And folks, if you want to see full reviews of whiskey stuff, then check out our other channel, Whiskey Wars, where we have reviewed this bottle. So there you go, folks. There is 10-2. But what is the number 1 spot? What is the best cover according to some guy that you've never met before? Well, it is Metallica's Last Caress. Of course, a cover of a Misfits song. And I love this song so freaking much. I think Metallica just killed it with this. I think it's absolutely better than the original, and I love the original. So it's like one of my favorite bands covering a song from one of my other favorite bands, and they just kill it. It's one of my favorite tracks of all time from Metallica, and one of my favorite tracks from the Misfits. So yeah, how can you go wrong? And especially check out the live version that's on the deluxe box set of Injustice for All. That's probably my favorite version of this. Or, you know, check out the YouTube links down below for all of these songs, including my number 1. I dropped all the song links down in the description box, so you can check them all out if you've never heard them before and see for yourself. Do these songs suck to you? Do you hate them? Do you think this guy's an idiot? Whatever, let me know down in the comments. Love to hear it. And just remember, folks, 2 things. First off, always drink plenty of the devil's juice. And rock on.